Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In this video I'd like to share with you my journey into building the Nova Salient Arms International 1911 Commander Kit, which I showed in my other video. I showed the kit as it comes in the box, and in this video I'd like to share every problem that I encountered during the build and everything I did to overcome each problem. Okay, so thanks for watching and hope you enjoy the video. The first problem I encountered during this build was after a couple of shots, I noticed that the slide would sometimes get caught on full travel. So I'd take the shot, the slide would move back and get stuck in that position on something. So it was hanging or jamming on something. And it's this part, one of the jams was caused by this problem here. There's a gap here between the blowback unit and the slide here, and I believe it's the knocker lock it's called on this side that rides along this the bottom part of the blowback unit, and it just finishes on full travel. It finishes there, so it can get caught in that gap there. I'm not sure if all of the slides and all blowback units are going to have this problem, but that's one of the things that happened on mine. Okay. So on full travel it would stop there and get jammed. I'll try and replicate this problem so you can see in a minute. The way to fix this is to short stroke it, basically using some buffers. I think it's may take 2 or 3 of these. It is possible to short stroke this to the point where the knocker lock doesn't get to that point there. You can short stroke it so on travel maximum travel is about there, and that's where the knocker lock will finish, and then come back to this side, so it won't actually go into that crevice. You can actually do that while keeping slide lock, the slide lock engaged. I'm probably going to short stroke it to the point where it just disengages the slide lock altogether, just to preserve the slide. But I'll try and replicate that problem for you. Right. Okay. Let me just see. It may engage, it may not. It sometimes does it and sometimes... There we go. Right. I'll be very careful to keep that in that position. Now, I've got a flashlight here in case it's not dark enough. In case it's not bright enough. Right. If you look in there, you can actually see that the knocker lock is jammed just after the blowback housing unit and between the slide. Okay, so I suggest short stroking your pistol, this kit, just a little bit, just to disengage that problem if your kit has this problem. Okay, that was the first problem. Okay, the second problem that I had was sometimes after a few shots the slide would jam about there. Yep, about there, which is was caused by the lugs on the inside of the slide. Those are these parts here. They would just be slightly too long, or the angle was incorrect, or maybe they were too sharp and conflicting with the lower lugs on the barrel. So what I did was I took some sandpaper, covered up the slide, and then just went over it very gently for a very long time until these turned out slightly smoother. There's no sharp edges anymore, and they're slightly smooth now. So that's what I did to replicate that, and that seems to have fixed that problem. Also, what I did was when I was using the MEU, Tokyo Marui MEU hop-up unit, which is this part here, it comes with this part which usually slides into the recoil guide rod. I don't know if it's just me or what, but that seemed to not function as smoothly as when I installed a high capper hop-up unit, which it does not have this part here that slides into the recoil rod. It just kind of rests on it. It seems to sanding that off and using this high capper hop-up unit, it seems to be running more smoothly, so that's what I'm going with now. Okay, that was the second problem. Okay, let's talk about the final modifications I had to do to the slide, starting with the front sight. The front sight initially was very loose. It would just slide on, be held in place pretty well by the shape of the cutout, but it was just kind of loose. It would slide out. So what I did was I took the sight off, and I put just a drop of glue onto the slide, not the sight, let that dry, and what that did was that created a wedge between the sight and the slide, and kind of hold it in place. It would give it some resistance, and now I could kind of just lightly tap the sight in, and it's held in place very tightly. The last modification I had to do was to the blowback housing. I'm not going to take this one out. I'm going to use this one here as an example. If you hold it in this orientation, so that the loading nozzle faces down and the rear of the blowback housing faces up, note that this leg here needs to be taken off up to about there, flush with the back of the blowback housing unit. That's because on the actual slide there is no space here for that leg. That's because of the design for the fake extractor and its retention screw that goes there. Okay, that was but other than that, I didn't really have to touch the blowback housing. Sometimes on some builds I would sand this down, but don't do that at all. Don't even touch that. It's because if you take this down too much and it doesn't, when it goes back to push the hammer back, if it doesn't push the hammer back and down far enough, your hammer can actually, rather than being in this position, which is where it needs to be, if that bump is gone, it will be slightly higher, and when the slide comes forward, it can actually, I've seen it where it can push this nozzle forward, or it can actually catch in that crevice there and jam completely, which you'd have to use your finger to push that down, and that's going to happen on almost every shot if you take that down too much. So don't take that down. All you want to do, if you want to touch it in any way, all you want to do is just slightly sand it down very, very gently, literally just take off a few microns, okay? Because if that goes down too much, you're going to have to replace the whole of the metal housing, blowback housing unit. Okay, that was, I think, most of the modifications to the slide. Nothing else needed to be touched. Oh, also talking about the lug modifications that I did, which was, as I said just a minute ago, just sanding down the free lugs on the slide and probably touching just a bit on the lugs on the outer barrel. Do not take off any material. If you're gonna sand it down, just take off the sharp edges very, very slightly and make sure they're smooth, but don't take off material, okay? If you take off too much material, the outer barrel will be very loose on the slide. It would rock forward and rock backwards, and it would actually have some play and jingle and jangle every time you you shake it, because you've taken off too much material and there's nothing to hold anything in place anymore, okay? I think that's from my observation anyway, and just a word of warning, okay? So if you're going to do any of these modifications, make sure you don't take off loads of material at a time or anything. Just use a very fine sandpaper and just take off ever so slightly, okay? All you want to do is make sure things are smooth. You actually don't want to take off materials, okay? Moving on to the lower frame, some of the parts needed fitment and modifications as well. First of all was the trigger. The original Tokyo Marui MEU trigger is too wide and too tall, so I had to Dremel off some material from the bottom, from the top, and sand down both sides. Initially it was too fat and it just couldn't fit in, it would get jammed, but after all the sanding, it now goes in and it's fine. It's pretty nice fitting in there. Okay, the second problem on the lower frame was the mag release. I'm going to use a prime grip mag release just to show you. When you first insert it, it has a retention thing here, which comes out when you unscrew it. So it slides in and it's loose, but then you release this and then it locks itself in place. Now this little piece here, that little piece that sticks out there, that locks it in place, that's too high, or it sticks out too much, so you can't actually unlock it when you slide it in. So what I had to do was sand down about 0.5 millimeter of it. After I did that, it went in fine, and then I could release it and it would lock in place. But just be aware that if you're using the original Tokyo Marui MEU mag release or mag catch, that part's going to be slightly too long in this kit. Okay. Also, the slide lock, this is the original Tokyo Marui MEU slide lock that I'm using. It's slightly too fat, this here. When the slide is forward and it's just like that, I could slot it in, but obviously you can't put this in when the slide is forward. So when I move it to the rear, the slide to line up the alignment hole, I can't actually push it in. It would just get stuck for some reason. So what I had to do was sand down this bar, which spins. Had to sand down this bar a lot to try and get it in, and now it kind of fits in place, although it's a bit rough. And when it did fit in, do note that the this part here, this little plunger or whatever it's called, spring-loaded plunger, is slightly too long, so you can't just line it up and push your mag catch in as usual. You may want to sand that down to get it to the correct size, but at the moment what I'm doing is I'm lining everything up using a small screwdriver, pushing that in, and then just locking it in place. Okay, what else needed modifications? Oh yes, the mainspring housing, I'm using the original Tokyo Marui MEU mainspring housing at the moment, and this kit doesn't come with the mainspring housing retention pin, so I'm using the TM one. That was too tight. It just could not fit in, so I had to decrease the diameter of it by sanding it down quite a bit, and then that slotted in. I could kind of hammer it in place now. So that was one of them, all those fitment issues done. Let me see what else needed modifications. No, I think that's it. This is the original Tokyo Marui MEU safety, beaver tail safety. That went on straight fine. It was absolutely fine. Didn't need any work. Right, I think we'll move on to the internals of the lower frame now. Okay, I've just taken out the internal parts of the lower frame. That's this part here. It has two retention pins. If you know the platform well, you'll realise that there are two retention pins, one that goes here and one that goes there. One thing I didn't like about this kit was that it doesn't come with those retention pins. You have to use your original Tokyo Marui ones. It's not a big thing, it's just one of them is made of some form of metal. It might be steel, I'm not too sure. Let me just check. Yes, one of the metal retention pin is made of steel, but the other retention pin, which I think is its main job is to hold the disconnector in place, is made of plastic. Now I'm not sure if this is a heavily load-bearing part. I'm not sure if it bears a lot of load. But I would have liked this to be in metal, you know. I mean, I thought you could have included that, but that's not a big thing. I mean, since they did the Tokyo Marui one is steel, it's not too much of a fuss. It's just I would have liked it if they included that. Right, this part here needed some work. I'm using the original hammer from the my MEU, Tokyo Marui MEU. As you can see so far, not a lot of the kit needs work. Most of the work that needs to be done is on the original Tokyo Marui MEU parts. That's because they're either, I don't know, as you've seen so far, they're either rough or they don't fit very well, they're too big, too small, small things like that. Okay, so the kit's doing very well in my opinion so far. Right, this part here, I transferred all of my Tokyo Marui parts over. And when I put the pistol together, it was shooting fine for 1 or 2 shots, and then it would, aside from the jams, it would light strike. So it would shoot full power, light strike, full power, light strike, full power, light strike, kind of like that kind of randomness. So I took everything apart and had a look, and it turns out the parts weren't perfectly fitting in this lower frame, this housing here. Okay, don't worry about that bit. One of the main problems is this part here. If you have a look, this is the valve knocker, the original Tokyo Marui valve knocker. I'll just move it out there. As you can see, as I move it up and down, it should be smooth like that. This part here was actually coming over this side too much and scraping against that. It was sometimes you'd be able to move it up smooth, and then sometimes it would catch on something. So what I did was sanded down this side here, okay, of that part there. I just sanded it down a little bit that way so that it has slightly more clearance. Okay. Secondly, the original Tokyo Marui, I'm not even sure what that part's called, some part of the hammer, I think. That part there is was scraping against the valve knocker on, I believe, yes, on this side. So what I did was just sanded down, not this side of it, but this inside part of that. Okay, so it's got the hook like that. The part you can see there is the, if you picture my hand like this, it's the hook like this. It's not this side, it's this side. I just cleared a bit of space there, that way it wouldn't scrape on the knocker valve. So a lot of things were kind of making this knocker valve's job very difficult. It was actually having a hard time. Sometimes it would scrape, sometimes it would clear it. That's why I'd get the light strikes. So after filing down this part here, as I said, and the that hammer part there, I think it's the hammer part anyway, it would be fine. I put everything together, tried it out, and it would be fine. There's no more light strikes. Okay, so that's one of the things you might want to be aware of. If you're using, I don't know, steel parts of these, a steel knocker, valve knocker, and that hammer hook part, then you may not have this problem. But that's, if you are experiencing light strikes, this may be the problem. Okay, so I thought I'd include that in this this build video. Right. Also, this part here, see, a lot of the times you'd get the double trigger thing. When you pull the trigger, nothing happens, pull again, and then it makes the shot. That's sometimes, if it's not to do with the leaf spring, it's to do with the disconnector, which is housed here, having a hard time going up. Sometimes it would get caught, and then you'd pull the trigger and it'd agitate it to go up, and then you pull again and it will release. That's sometimes to do with the roughness of kits. The kits are machined are a bit rough, or they've got some jagged edges. This kit was fine, I can say. The only problem, the only reason I'm not using the Tokyo Marui disconnector is because my particular disconnector was quite rough. Right, let's try and get this on camera. As you can see, this part here is actually very jagged, and it was scraping against some parts, and there are some sharp edges. This is the Tokyo Marui MEU disconnector. It was actually quite rough in there, so what I'm using is this, it's a steel disconnector from, I don't know who the maker is. It's actually, I've had it for quite a long time. It was for one of my high kappa builds many well, a long time ago, and I'm using that in this build now. I'm using this in as the disconnector, and it's I like smoothing this part off. You don't have to do this. I think the part, it's very smooth. It's machined very well, and there aren't too many jagged edges. It's just something that I do as added insurance to make a very smooth flowing part even smoother. As what I like to do is I like to really sand these to almost a mirror finish and get it very slippery, and then I add just a touch of lubricant in there, and that makes the disconnector function very smoothly there, like that. Okay, but I'm not sure if it's just my kit or if all Tokyo Marui MEU disconnectors like that, but they the ones on the high kappa kits that I normally buy are very smooth. So I was quite surprised that they had all these jagged and burred edges. You know, but if I couldn't be bothered to sand this off. I thought, if I'm going to do any work on one of these disconnectors, I may as well use one of my steel ones. So that's what I did. Okay, so that's one of the things you may experience if you're doing this kit, or if you're using some other kit or modifying some other I don't know, 1911 or whatever. If it's Tokyo Marui based, you may experience this light striking, and the reason may be this here. Okay, so that was, let me see what else needed doing. I think that's everything on the lower frame. Nothing else needed. Let me just make sure. Oh, the my the spring for my knocker lock. The knocker lock goes in there, and there's a mini spring there. That flew off. That's gone. I've lost it forever. So I had to use a spare spring that I had from one of my steel kits. Normally when you buy these steel disconnectors that come with the valve knocker lock or whatever it's called, it comes with the spring. Some of them I'm using just a spare one out of my spares box. It's slightly stronger than the standard one, but that's not something you have to upgrade or change. It's just something that I did. Let me see, the knocker lock I'm using is actually the Tokyo Marui MEU one, which also has rough edges. There's a lot of rough edges, but it doesn't seem to affect the function of it on the knocker lock, so I'm continuing to use that. It's no problem. Okay, right, that's the problems with the lower frame. Let's moving on. Okay, my the last parcel has just arrived, and I've just received my Nova mainspring housing. I think this is the type of mainspring housing that is on the Real Steel Salient Arms 1911. It's made of steel. This one's made by Nova. It's made of steel, and it's a lot heavier than the original one, than the MEU one. This is the original Tokyo Marui MEU mainspring housing, and it's quite heavy, you know, made of metal and quite robust, but this one is even heavier, and it's made of steel, obviously that's why it's heavier, so it should be very robust. The finish on it is quite nice. It's slightly different to the finish on the kit. It's not as matte, and it has a slight glitter to it. If picks up on camera, you can sort of tell that it has some glitter, so it's a glittery finish. Not very noticeable when you install it, but if you look very closely and you're looking for details, you will be able to tell that it is slightly different. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I don't know what the Real Steel kit is like. But I'm quite happy with it. I fit it. I've already fitted it to the gun and tried it out. It fits perfectly, no problems. Houses the hammer spring and functions correctly as it should. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. The spring retention pin there fits in nicely. It's not too loose, not too tight. It just goes in with little force and is quite snug, so I'm quite happy about that as well. I'm going to take this opportunity to upgrade the hammer spring with a 9-bore hammer spring, which I enjoy using in some of my builds. This is one of the ones that I really like using. Okay, going to be using that in this kit. Okay, I'm going to put it back together and move ahead with the video. Okay, so that was all the problems I encountered, and that was everything I did to overcome them. Hopefully the information will help you with your build, or if you're not building and you're just curious, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Okay, so final thoughts on the kit. How do I feel about it? Well, first of all, as you all, well, you may know the price. The price is very, very expensive. You can, I'm not going to say how much it costs, but you can check it out online if you're interested. You know, I think they're still available from some shops. It is a very nice piece. As a collector's piece, if you are crazy about the looks of the Salient Arms International 1911 and you require a kit that is very, very realistic, then this is probably, if you have the money, this is probably the right kit for you. But if you're just looking for a pistol or a project, any old pistol or any old project to you know, get your hands on and to work at, then this is a little bit expensive. There's a lot of kits out there that are very, very realistic and pretty, you know, almost exactly the same as the Real Steel looks wise, and it would be very enjoyable to build as a project, but it is in no way as expensive as this kit. This is a very, very expensive kit. Obviously you've got the precision machine slide, the outer barrel, which is made of steel, and the lower frame, the grips, you know, but it doesn't include any, it has the 2 sights, so yes, it doesn't include any springs, doesn't include any, no screw, no internal retention pins, no slide lock, no trigger, no mag catch, no magwell, no mainspring housing, no grip safety, no thumb safety, no hammer, So there are you know, no blowback housing. What you're paying for in the price is just the frame, basically the frame and the barrel, I guess, with just a couple of little bits thrown in, and the these grip panels. But it's you know, it's going to appeal to a very selective market. This isn't for everyone. Some people like the gold barrel. Some people hate the gold barrel. I personally don't mind it. It is very true to the real steel, and they've replicated everything very well, to my knowledge anyway. And I know this is the same as the pretty similar to the real steel, but I don't like the outer barrel sticking out this much. I mean, if it was half that length, if it was in up to about there, it would be more my kind of taste. But I just really wanted to get my hands on this kit to play with because it just looked fantastic, other than, you know, the barrel, in my opinion. But I had lots and lots of fun. I learned a lot along the way, and I hopefully by sharing this information I can help someone out there that's probably in the same boat as me, or thinking of doing this build but a bit worried about you know, what has to be done, or how much it's going to cost to find someone to fit the parts for you. Hopefully this information will give you the confidence to do it yourself. I'm still using the standard MEU beaver tail there. I probably won't change that out to a steel one. I'm probably going to keep it as it is, as you see it now. But I'm very happy with the build. It's just so, it was very realistic. I mean, if I just show you this part here, that fake firing pin there, that is spring loaded, that actually comes out and goes in. Spring loaded. The rear of the extractor here, you can tell that that's a different part. That's very nice. It's actually held in by a retention screw. The kit, rather than buying a ready-made pistol or a kit that you just assemble and it works, this felt more like a model kit. You know, you can buy like models of things and paint it and fill in parts and, you know, whatever, shape different areas and paint it. And I've already said paint, but you know, you get the gist of what I mean. It was like a model kit that you make yourself and that you're proud of at the end of the day. The only difference is it's functional. It's very functional. Oh, one thing I didn't cover in this video is FPS, and that's because the inner barrel, the length of it, is determined by you. You have to cut down your inner barrel, so you can either cut down the standard Tokyo Marui barrel, or you can buy some form of type ball barrel and cut it to the length that suits you. That's what your FPS is gonna depend on. It's gonna depend on the hop-up unit you use, the hop-up rubber, and the length you've cut your inner barrel to, and the tightness of the barrel. So if you use a type ball barrel, I think your FPS is going to be slightly higher than if you use the Tokyo Marui inner barrel. Mine cut to this length. It's literally cut into, it's cut to the point of the groove on the inside. And I'm running I think it was 265 FPS on a mild day with green gas. I'm not too bothered about the FPS. I mean, if I was really crazy about the FPS, I would just cut the inner barrel down to up to about there, so it's just inside, slightly covered by the outer barrel. But you know, I'm more for the looks than anything, and this is probably just going to be something that I'm going to stick in the cabinet and shoot every now and again. Okay, but it was fun. It was very fun. I probably haven't given you a first-person view of the shooting sight. This is what it's going to look like if you're holding the pistol, ready to fire at your target. Okay. It's very powerful. There are, as I said before, there's not a lot that needs to be done to the kit. Only very light sanding to the inner part of the slide lugs. That's what I did, very lightly. Don't go crazy or anything. You don't want to take any material off. Very little work had to be done to the kit. Most of the work was done to the MEU parts. So if you're using parts from different guns, like, I don't know, maybe upgraded steel parts, then some work may not need to be done. Some parts need to be filed, but all the information should be hopefully covered in this video. anything you encounter, any problems, should be covered in this video. Hopefully that was the main aim of this, aside from showing you this kit. I mean, one of the things that in this hobby, I'm probably just gonna rant on a little bit now. One of the things in this hobby that I don't like is so much information is withheld. You either have to know somebody in the industry that is part of the company that makes these kits, or a good friend of someone that's in the industry, or a friend of a shop's, or own a shop. You know, if you're just your average Joe like me, you don't know where these kits come from. I mean, I don't know what company makes this, or what company makes that, or what factory they use. So finding first-hand information is very difficult in this hobby. Even from the shops that sell these kits, sometimes you could email a shop and say, you know, what is this kit's material made of, and they would just reply with full metal, and you'd think, I know it's made of metal, but it would be good if I could have slightly more information, like what kind of metal, what kind of aluminum. But obviously, I can understand why they try and get through so many emails so quickly, is because they probably get thousands and thousands every day. And running a shop, it's not going to be very efficient if they're putting so much effort onto the customer. So it's kind of a, you know, give or take situation. I don't enjoy receiving so short emails, but I can kind of see why some companies that sell these parts reply in that manner. Okay, but I thought, you know, since I've already got this kit, I'll share this information with you guys, and you know, it might help you with your decision. I know a lot of people are gonna that are crazy about the look of this type of pistol are going to think, I'm definitely going to get one of these kits, I'm going to save up for one. It took me, you know, well, I've been saving up to buy a nice kit for a very long time, and this is that kit. This is the kit that I want. I'm really enjoying this. I'm a little bit unhappy actually that the build is over, it's all finished, because for me, most of the fun is not actually in shooting the pistol, it's in building it and making it run efficiently, and you know, running efficiently and correctly, and finding any errors and correcting them, or you know, making it in a way perfect. This is very close to running perfectly at the moment. I suppose, what else could you do? I think it's just running smoothly. I'll give you a quick first person view of shooting it. Very smooth, functions very well. The magazine, oh, I love these MEU magazines, they just look amazing. You know, you get that 1911 look. It's surprisingly running very well. I mean, a lot of times, especially in the winter, I'd have problems shooting a lot of rounds. I'd probably get through 5 rounds, and you could feel a massive reduction in recoil power and you know, whatnot. But this kit is, although full metal, surprisingly, it's actually doing quite well. Okay, the magazine slides in like butter, very smooth, comes out very easily. You know, the mag catch does its job, and the kit's very smooth on the inside. You can kind of tell that I'm running this kit half dry, meaning I've only lubed it to a certain point. It's not being crazily lubed. A little bit of seepage there, but I haven't gone crazy lubing it because I wanted it to look slightly better on video. You know, I didn't want oil patches everywhere and it dripping with lubrication. But that's the basically everything. I think I've covered everything. I hope I covered everything. I don't want to do another take. But this is the front sight. Oh yeah, I didn't actually say anything about the front sight. The optic rod that they include is brilliant. It's very easy to install. It fits perfectly, just slides in, and took very little heat to bulb it to a very nice shape. It also gives out a lot of light. You know, I've purchased light rods before that hardly give off any light, you know, but this one is very nice, the one they include in the clip, in the kit. Rear sight's very nice, outer barrel's very nice, everything functions correctly. Yep, okay, so that's it. I'll leave you guys to it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you later.